evening. Thank you guys for coming here live and everybody coming in by replay. We're excited to have you guys. Stay tuned. Don't go anywhere. We have an amazing guest tonight, Mr. Coach Devin Jordan. Devin Jordan is a former football standout at the great Massillon, Washington High School in Massillon, Ohio. Massillon Tigers, yes. I'm a McKinley Bulldog, but I got to show some love to a great man who's doing some great work in his community. He's also a former Ohio State Buckeye. Go Buckeyes. So excited for them, again, making the college football playoff this year. I'm really excited about everything they're accomplishing and everything they're doing. So he formerly played there. Now he is the wide receiver coach at the University of Akron, a D1 MAC school here in Ohio, and he is doing so many amazing things. Ladies and gentlemen, wait till you hear his story. Wait till you hear what he's about. Make sure you share this broadcast, even if you're watching by replay. Make sure you share it so somebody else can see it. Share it to a post so that people can see it streaming on your page. If you're on YouTube, just hit share and send it in a text message to somebody. Send it to a group of people you're talking to. Sit down with some young men or young women today and show this video to them, because we're going to be talking about the work he's doing in the community, a great book that he wrote that is changing lives and is going to change so many lives in the future. You guys don't want to miss this. We're going to get into it in just a minute. I'm excited. It's been a little while, ladies and gentlemen. It's been a long time. I shouldn't have left you. I don't know. I had a few days off here since the last show, and I just miss it. I'm excited to be back in the lab, back in the studio, back doing my thing, sharing things with you. Shout out to my man G. Bush at his clothing line at shopfifthmerch.com. I was like, I got to write this down because I love this hat. I love his clothing line, and I'm like, how can people buy it? Shopfifthmerch.com, ladies and gentlemen. Shop Fifth. That's spelled fifth out. Shopfifthmerch.com. Make sure you guys check out my guy G. Bush and his great clothing line. Shopfifthmerch.com. I'm going to put this at the bottom of the screen because I want you guys to go check out shopfifthmerch.com, because I'm thinking some of y'all want to get these hats and stuff. I'm thinking I'm not the only one that wants to have this quality stuff. So check out my man G. Bush. Check out this great clothing line. I love the logo. He has hats, T-shirts, hoodies. He's got it all. Book bags. He's got shoes. I mean, he's got everything. I mean, my man is not playing any games, okay? So check him out. Check him out. When you come into the broadcast, say what's up so we know you're here. We love to know who's in the comments, who's here live with us on the show. Make sure everything is off and running. We're here on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and LinkedIn. Excited for the audience and everybody who's coming in to watch us here today. Again, whether you're live or by replay, we are so glad you're here. My wife is usually here with us each time. She was going to work out, and she was like, honey, I love you, but I'm going to work out. So I don't know where she went, but I'm going to find her. I'm thinking she's going to check us out and see what's going on. So I'm thinking she might jump in here in just a minute. Shout out to her. And everything that she always does to support me and help me make this thing great, ladies and gentlemen. So I'm super excited about it. We got holidays going on, holidays coming up, so many things that people are preparing for. Somebody out there is a little stressed and a little worried. We hope today that you will sit back, relax, and enjoy this great conversation. We hope that you remember that these holidays are not all about gifts and what you can give to people and buying your kids a bunch of stuff. It's about sharing love. Make sure you tell people you love them and you care about them, especially with 2020 being 2020. I don't know if you noticed 2020 was so 2020. It was like nothing else. So I hope you guys take the time to tell people you love them. Don't shy away from people because you don't have enough gifts to bring. Little drummer boy. Go tell people how much you love them, how much you care. And even if you're being socially distant and being careful this holiday season and not getting together with those you know and love as much as you would have, make sure you reach out, you call, you FaceTime, you Zoom, you do things to show love to your family and friends, because this year reminded us how precious life is. I hope it showed people how precious every day is. So I hope you guys have a happy, wonderful holiday season. But remember what it's really about. Really not about getting everybody a PlayStation 5. Because you can't find a PlayStation 5 unless you got a PlayStation 5. I'd like to get a PlayStation 5, but I can't find a PlayStation 5, so I'm assuming you can't find a PlayStation 5. But if you got a PlayStation 5, you want to help me get a PlayStation 5, holler at me, let me know. Just saying, okay? I'm just saying. Did I just say it wasn't about the gifts? I meant that. I promise. It's not all about the gifts. It's not all about the gifts. Also, I want to shout out my sponsor, Restream. Ladies and gentlemen, if you are interested in streaming live video, we're going into 2021 and you're like, I want to start a podcast. I want to do interviews. I want to talk about stuff that I care about. Lucas is doing it. Why can't I? Well, you can too, ladies and gentlemen. And I'd love to get you connected with Restream. Please reach out to me, call me, text me, inbox me. Let me know if you're interested and want to know more information about Restream. They're sponsoring the show. You can go live to over 30 plus social media platforms at the same time. It also has a scheduler. You can pre-record videos and post them. It'll schedule and post them when you want them to post and post them live. And they'll be playing live, but they're already previously recorded. It has so much functionality. There are competitors out there, but I promise you, this one is the most complex. It is the one that has the most services, I would say. Not complex in use, but complex in they took their time and built it out right. And there's a lot of options, a lot of things you guys can do. So make sure you guys check that out at restream.io. Reach out to me so you can get my link. It'll give you credit. You'll get $10 off after your first stream. And if you need any help with it, I can walk you through it personally and show you how you too can have your own live video podcast. All right, I got you. All right, let me know. Churches, individuals, podcasters, hosts, people who want to have an interview show, or people who just want to broadcast their kids' basketball game so their family can see it. You can use it from your phone. You can use it from your computer. You can use it from your tablet. It's a great solution. So make sure you guys check out Restream at restream.io. Now, I don't see any comments. I want to be cautious because Restream did an update. I'm telling y'all how great Restream is. They did do an update, and they have new functionality. And I'm hoping that the new functionality didn't bump off the old functionality. So I'm going to go ahead and pull up my Facebook just to make sure I'm not losing it, not missing something, just to make sure if something might be happening, that I'm not seeing. Because, they got new technology that could be kicking off the old technology. That happens sometimes. They have good intentions. See, I'm not seeing it live on my page. See, the new technology could be kicking off the old technology. So let me check it out. Let's see what's going on. Let me find it here. You guys, thank you guys for your patience. I appreciate it. If you're here watching, say something in the comments so I can see what's going on there. Oh, there we are. There we are. We're on Lucas Live Media. Yep. So let me share this to my page because that might be what's slowing that down. I don't know. Sometimes things don't go exactly as planned. Share video, share now. There we go. All right, we're off and running. All right, people are finding us now. I see you guys. All right, people are coming in. Let me know if you're here. Let me know where you're coming in from before I bring on this great guest. I see me there. Hey, I see somebody. All right, thanks for coming in. All right, we're here on LinkedIn. We're here on YouTube. We're here on Facebook. We're in there. We're off and running, ladies and gentlemen. And I don't want to delay it any longer. I want to bring in our first guest. Shout out to my man Tyler Thatcher, wrapping these last Christmas gifts while watching the show. I appreciate you, my man. Appreciate you, Tyler. Always here, always showing love, always supporting. Shout out to my man Tyler Thatcher. Great friend, great guest, great guy. Shout out to him. He's also a coach. Tyler, we're gonna get you into the college ranks one of these days. You know what I'm saying? It'll be time for you to get elevated. You're such a young man. You have room to grow. You're gonna go to the top. I know you will. All right, ladies and gentlemen, without any further delay, I want to bring on my guest. He is doing so many great things, as I said earlier. I love supporting people who are supporting people. I think that's important. Supporting people who are making moves and doing positive things in the community. He's doing that and some. He's had a level of success in many things that he's done. And at times when you've had a level of success, you could rest on that and be like, I'm doing good. And I have a recipe to do well. But he's taken the recipe that he's learned. He's put it into a book, into a manual that is helping people and going to help more people. He's about the community. He's working with young men. I'm going to play a video clip today of a great project he did with Sam's Club, which was phenomenal and amazing. Inspiring. He celebrated his birthday by giving things away. Without any further delay, let me welcome to the show my guest, Coach Devin Jordan. Welcome to the show, my man. How you doing today?
Hey, first of all, go Tigers. I'm doing great.
Go Bulldogs. I'm glad you're here.
Hey, all love. All love.
It's all love. Shout out to the Canton McKinley Bulldogs. Shout out to the Massillon Tigers. Shout out to everybody out there making a difference and doing something positive. Coach, I'm excited to have you here today. It's an important conversation. We want to talk a little bit. I want to talk to you about your book. I want to talk to you a little bit about your life and your journey. I mean, people know you went from Massillon High School to the Ohio State Buckeyes. That's a big deal to play for such a storied program. Right after they had won a national championship, not long after. and now you're working for the University of Akron and doing some amazing things. I would say going above and beyond, because the things that you're doing in your charity through your nonprofit and the other things that you're doing, a lot of other people are like, I'm cool. Let me keep working my way up in the coaching ranks and worry about me. And you're saying, not only do I want to give back to my athletes, I want to give back to my community. Let's get started a little bit with talking a little bit about your foundation. Can you tell us the name of your foundation and the purpose behind it and some of the things that you guys have been doing?
Yeah, absolutely. It's called Beyond the Game. Started it about 5 years ago, a little less than 5 years ago. I've always wanted to do something to give back. Obviously, we talked about earlier, my father being a pastor here in Canton, kind of in my blood, just find a way to serve people. So I've always wanted to give back. So going to Ohio State, thinking I was going to go to the NFL, didn't happen. I thought I was going to make millions of dollars and find ways to help my community. Like I said, getting hurt didn't happen. Went to the coaching ranks. Just kind of saw and had a strong passion for still, giving back and kids and young people. And 5 years ago, I had a good friend, Mayor Kazera Perry from Massillon. I was at one of her events, and she was just asking me if I ever want to get something started on my own. And she kind of helped push me along and kind of helped me get Beyond the Game started. It was a slow start, but things are starting to pick up because my passion is strong and people are starting to get behind what I'm trying to accomplish. It's been tremendous. And I want to keep going as far as I can.
That's incredible. I mean, to think that somebody went out of their way to push you to start something great. What do you think it was in you that she saw? I mean, why choose you as somebody to step out there and start a nonprofit and do what you're doing?
Yeah, I think she just kind of, knew, followed me a little bit from my Massillon career and just knew who I was as a person, and just me coaching and me being at even some events that I've been at. I was actually, at one of hers, but just asking myself that I wanted to do more. And I'm just kind of talking to her about what I wanted to do, what my plan initially was, going after college, hoping I was going to go to the NFL. And she said, you don't have to be a millionaire to give back. And I was like, yeah, you're right about that. So, really just wanted to start my own thing, which was the hardest thing I've ever done, to start my nonprofit and get the paperwork done. And at the end of the day, nothing great comes easy. So it's been one of the hardest things, but really one of the most rewarding things in my life, and hopefully something I can pass down to my kids, whenever I'm long gone off this world.
That's phenomenal. So you're also a family man. Tell us a little bit about your family. I saw your picture. You got the little ones, your wife. To me, I always tell people, especially as men are like, what do you do for a living? What do you do? And I'm like, what I do is not who I am. Who I am is a husband and a father and a grandfather now. That's who I am. And that's what comes first. So quick shout out to the family. Tell us about your family.
Yeah, absolutely. Been married 6 years, got 3 kids. Got a daughter just turned 9, son that's 5, Devin the second. And then Jet will be about 2 years old here in about 3 months. So, quarantine was rough, but hey, we made it through. And like you said, it's not about, people always ask, like you said, what do you do? I'm a father, I'm a husband, then I'm a football coach, I'm a mentor, so people forget the most rewarding job is being a father to my 3 kids. I think that's one thing that, I take pride in. Sometimes I'm not always there for them because I'm, helping other people's kids, and they take a sacrifice of that as well. And right now, I'm trying to take these 2 weeks off from coaching and trying to be there for my kids, so I think that's something I'm trying to take some time and do that for my own family here in the next couple of weeks.
That's big. Coaching during COVID, Coach. Let's talk a little bit about coaching during COVID. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we have a great clip that we're going to show you guys from an event he did with Sam's Club. We have another a video we're going to be showing you guys in a little bit. Make sure you guys stay tuned. Make sure if you haven't already shared this broadcast that you share it, that you call somebody, text somebody. If you know a young person or a school administrator who may want to know about ways that they can either get help for themselves or ways that they can help their students. He's going to be talking today about his book, which is phenomenal. I mean, this is his book, ladies and gentlemen. He told me he had a book. He said, man, I'm going to drop off my book to you. And I went to my mailbox and my whole mailbox was full. I was like, wait a minute, this is the real deal, brother. I was like, a good thing I got it out before the mailman came because they weren't going to know where to put my mail. This is serious. This is the real deal. We're going to be talking about this book in just a minute, ladies and gentlemen. It is a manual. It is, and it's not about this being this thick book that you just have to read every word. This is a workbook. This is a living, breathing document. that can literally change lives. So I can't wait to talk about that. Let's talk real quick, though. Talk to us a little bit about your coaching journey. Let us know a little bit about the University of Akron, and then help us understand what was it like coaching through COVID. What was that like?
Oh man! First and foremost, coaching through COVID is something I never want to do ever again. So let's start with that. But I'll go back to my original start with coaching. Like we talked about a little bit earlier, I was at Ohio State and ended up getting hurt. Going to be my breakout year. Essentially ended my career. My last 2 years at Ohio State, I was a student coach under Coach Tressel and Daryl Hazel, who was a receiver coach. When I kind of was thinking about if I was going to hang it up, Coach Tress knew who I was and my passion for the game, and having my roots in Massillon, just knowing how many great coaches came from Massillon. He said, "Well, what do you think about just being around and getting into coaching?" I said, "I'll try it out." And at first, it was kind of hard. It was rough because being around the game when you can't play the game is rough, and with injuries. But at the end of the day, when you actually see the knowledge that you have being passed on to others and they're successful, I mean, it was something that was kind of cool. So I kind of grew a passion for it. My first year out of college, went to Wittenberg for a year. I was at Otterbein in Columbus for 3 years, and was at Walsh University for 6 years. I was at Massillon University for a year, and was at YSU last year. And this previous year was at University of Akron, coaching through COVID. So, University of Akron's done. We've been pushing hard, trying to rebuild the culture there, and it's going really good. Obviously, with COVID, certain things you had to deal with that people don't understand. Getting something stuck up your nose 4 times a week. Guys are in and out of the roster, in and out of practice because whether they're tested positive or their roommate did, or their girlfriend did, or their best friend did, and they were in a car with them, and the day before a game, you're out 7 starters, and you got to deal with it. I mean, it was wild, But at the end of the day, one thing I'm thankful for is I got the chance to coach because a lot of my good friends who, in some other conferences, other leagues, other divisions didn't get to coach. Some other players didn't get to play. And so I was thankful to actually be able to, put on the whistle and the hat and coach every day. And thankfully I stayed healthy. My family stayed healthy. The season didn't go as well as we wanted to go with wins and losses, but at the end of the day, we got to perform. I got to make a difference. And, like I said, push forward.
I think that is such an important call out that so many athletes and coaches this year didn't get to do what they love. Now, we don't want to suggest that coaching a game is more important than survival in a season where people are losing their lives. So our hearts go out, our prayers go out to all the families and the people who've lost loved ones from this tragic time. Yet it is still difficult on the psyche of young people who have fashioned their future around the success in this game, right? They've seen it as a means to success, to maybe taking their families out of poverty, or at minimum to get an education, right? So what is it like as a person who is a mentor and a motivator? What was it like for you while you're dealing with your own feelings about it? How did you go about keeping these athletes motivated to continue to play the game they love?
Yeah, honestly, it was interesting because this was about the same time I was actually finishing my manual, and I actually had a couple players, on the roster at Akron, and I said, hey, dive into this manual. Tell me what you think. Something that I know I kind of got some of the content or the idea from when I was in college with Coach Tressel, coming from the winner's manual he had at Ohio State. So being able to give them, the manual that you have in your hands. And some players are like, Coach, this is great. I'm like, hey, every morning when we come to meetings, hey, did you do reading this morning? They're like, yeah, I did. Like, I can't put it, and I think what it does, it shifts your mindset. And honestly, I used it, myself, trying to keep a positive mindset. It was rough going in and knowing what the day was going to bring, but, finding a way to push forward was really good. And so I think, to answer your question, is just giving them something outside of the norm that can shift their mindset in a positive way. It's kind of helps many of my players get through the season.
I love it. I love it. Shout out to those who have made some comments here. Shout out to Jay Shalili. Again, Tyler Thatcher, my man. Pastor Hubert Carpenter, shout out to you, my man. He says go Tigers all day, every day. He's the Tiger King. He's one of the Tiger Kings. I tease my man Ellery. He's the Tiger King, but he was the Tiger King as well. Shout out to my man Chris Bennett. Chris Bennett reached out to me and said, man, I was just going to tell you, you should think about having him on your show. Shout out to him. Coach Boo Man, shout out to him. Another Jim Tressel coaching tree member, right? Like, I mean, Coach Tressel has impacted so many lives, and the lives that he's impacted have impacted so many lives. So shout out to him. Miss Gloria Pope suggests that we check out the Paul E. Brown Museum at the Massillon Museum. There's a Paul E. Brown, display at the Massillon Museum that she recommends everybody check out. Shout out to my man, Sean Witherspoon, and to my wonderful friend, Shamar Latanja. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Glad to have you guys here. Make sure you guys say what's up in the comments. Say hello, share this broadcast, and let somebody else know that they don't want to miss today's show. So let's get into the book a little bit. Again, the book. I mean, okay, I don't have my book. Wait, where is it at? I got a couple books, right? My wife and I wrote a book called The Marriage Plan. It's called The Marriage Plan. And this book is a his and hers, and it's to help couples plan their future. It's to create a vision for forever together is the idea. I wrote a book called The Man Manual. So you said your book was The Mental Manual. I said, I know I wrote The Man Manual. It's about this thick, right? It's not very big, and it's helping women understand men. And it's just a manual, as in I reference men as an electronic device. I say, well, how do you get him out of the box? How do you open him up? He's a little more fragile than you think. How do you troubleshoot if you think there's problems? And what do you do if you need, what's the return policy? And I suggest that women should return their man to God because he is the manufacturer of man. If things aren't working out, I don't mean kill him, but I mean pray for him and or even at times you need to end the relationship while that man repairs or goes back to repair with God. Your book, your manual, your workbook is so much more than what I had. And I am so impressed. Tell me how this came to life. How long did it take? And what is your ultimate goal for this manual? Who is it for? What's it going to do for them?
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, the concept came from my college coach, Coach Tressel. Every year during training camp in August, we kind of have this winner's manual. And what it was basically I'd say like a month of, diving into what he'd call a quiet time. So you write down what I'm thankful for, what I'm grateful for. And then he'd say, hey, turn the attitude today, read quotes about attitude, write down your favorite one, and we're going to share as a team and we're going to move forward. And so, as an 18-year-old man, a young man, 19-year-old, you're kind of thinking, why are we doing this? Right.
Right.
Remember, 05, we're about to play, we're playing a team up north and we're down by 4 trying to drive. And he's like, we're about to handle adversity. Like we talked about back in August, we're like, dude, what are you talking about? Like, let's go. What's the next play?
Right.
We go down and score. And, obviously at that moment we handled adversity. And even talking about 2020 with a Zoom call I had some of my former players at Ohio State, we were talking about how we were gifted with the instruction book to handle 2020 with the winners manual. Russell just talking about how to handle adversity, how to deal with certain things, how to move forward, how to have mental toughness. And so kind of struck the idea of how do I want to give back to other people, whether it be athletes who are dealing with, hey, am I not playing? Am I playing? What's going on? I wanted to do something. So people had always been asking me, hey, why don't you write your own book? And I always put it off because I'm so busy.
Right.
But I kind of, thought, hey, that's the perfect time to do it. I got a lot of time on my hands. Let's get it done. So had a lot of sleepless nights. Had some help from, some good friends of mine to kind of put it together. Took about 3 or 4 months to kind of really put the whole thing together. And finally got teamed up with a publishing company, got it copyrighted, and should be coming out here very shortly. Made some hard copies and gave it out to some people, and they were very impressed. Talked to all the athletic directors of the Federal League, and they gave it to their superintendents, and they're like, we need this right now. Like, how do we get this to our kids right now? And so, trying to raise funds any way we can to get it out to as many kids as we can, to kind of help as many kids as we can. That's really what we're trying to do. So the thought was really started with Coach Tressel. with his winner's manual. I know even a coach who I coached for a couple years ago, Jim Dennison, had kind of had the same mentality that Coach Tress had. Coach Tressel was actually worked for Coach Dennison years ago, but it's kind of that same mentality, just really trying to prepare people not only for sports, but also just life. And people don't understand how much that intertwines, that you can learn from sports and then carry it over to real life. So I wanted to do my part to impact the next generation the way someone impacted my life so I can be successful today.
Incredible. And ladies and gentlemen, I want to give you guys an opportunity. Your hope is to give out some free copies of this book. You want to help as many young people, athletes. Who's your target market? Let's let people understand who, if they are to donate today, who might that help get this book to?
Yeah, absolutely. Right now, really the manual is designed for anyone at ages 10 and up. And so really at this time, we're trying to raise funds to get this manual out to student athletes that are at the high school level right now. So any donation that, could be made with some fundraisers we're doing right now will go to providing this manual to high school athletes who I think are struggling the most right now, with the pandemic. A lot of kids are losing opportunities to visit colleges, to get recruited. It's just they're just down right now. Are we in school? Out of school? Same things that we're talking about, as far as how do you play through a pandemic, it's tough. So we're trying to raise funds to just keep these kids lifted up mentally and try to help them push forward as much as we can. So that's really what we're trying to do about raising funds to get this out to kids. The book right now can be purchased through our website. If anyone wants to buy it, it's targeted right now for our donations for athletes. But honestly, I have people that are using it right now, and just people that aren't in sports at all. I know they're going to give it to some of their workers and their companies, because they're like, man, my workers need this to keep themselves fresh, to keep positive through tough times. And really, it's been a rough year for everybody. So trying to help people push through.
I love it. And ladies, what's the website that people can find it at?
The website is going to be www.gobeyondthegame.org. Again, that's www.gobeyondthegame.org. It should be right there on the top of the screen. You could purchase a copy for yourself, anyone else. Like I said, you could order that right now, and hopefully we'll get that to you here soon.
It's right there, ladies and gentlemen, www.gobeyondthegame.org. You guys can order right now. Also, we want to show you guys how you guys can donate. Here on Cash App, $Beyond the Game is how you can donate. Your donation can go toward a young man, young woman, someone out there, a high school athlete right now is the target, to get this in their hands. The school districts, we're hoping they're going to purchase some, and some have already said they're definitely interested. But there are always going to be students out there whose school district can't do it, their parents can't do it, but this is exactly what they need. In this season of giving, where we're often giving to our kids who already have everything, you could do something to give to a kid that doesn't already have everything. So right now at Cash App, $Beyond the Game, you guys can make a donation to the Beyond the Game Foundation here, owned by Devin Jordan, and do something to help somebody out this holiday season. Now, Devin, I want to show everybody a little clip here. You took some kids to Sam's Club, and this was something that was posted on your social media. And I know you are not the kind of guy that likes to post a lot of stuff. You don't like to brag a lot, but people want to see what you're doing. People want to see what's going on. People want to see where their dollars are going and what's happening. You happen to do something really special with Sam's Club. Before I play this clip, can you tell the people what this event was about, and who are these young people you were helping?
Yeah, I actually just wanted to, give back. This holiday season. It was my birthday a couple days ago, so I thought, what better way to, celebrate my birthday and give back. So I took 12 young men from our Guys with Ties program, kind of connected with some of their teachers and mentors within the school, and just wanted to reach out to those who are really going through a really tough year. I know we all have been through a tough year, but those who are really struggling certain ways in their own families, and brought 12 these boys in and took them Christmas shopping. Just wanted to kind of show some love to them. I want to do as much as I could, and that's really all it was, just trying to show some love.
And this was for your birthday. You spent your birthday giving back to these young men, taking them shopping. This is a really cool thing. Ladies and gentlemen, check out this clip of Devin taking these young men out to Sam's Club. Shout out to our local Sam's Club. We want to shout them out as well. You guys check this out. Amazing, amazing stuff. Shout out. I got my Sam's Club mask on right now. Shout out to Sam's Club. I went and met my guy. I gotta stop my screen share because it's still over here sharing stuff over here in the background. Shout out to my guy Shane over at Sam's Club. He brought me in, gave me a great tour of the store. I already am a huge fan of Sam's Club. Ladies and gentlemen, if you don't have your membership to Sam's Club, go check it out. If you live here in Northeast Ohio, we have the #1 Sam's Club in the world. They won #1 Sam's Club in the world recently here on Portage in North Canton, Ohio. Check out Sam's Club. Shout out to them for giving me the Sam's Club merch. I got the Sam's Club mask going on. They hooked me up, gave me a tour, took me around. And if you guys have been thinking about getting a Sam's Club membership, please go check them out. They are doing great work and they really do care. And they're giving back to their community. Tell me a little bit about this partnership and the work you did with Sam's Club.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Shane is phenomenal. Like you said, I think he won General Manager of the Year. And I told him now he's the year. Says, Jane, you're the LeBron James of Sam's Club now.
Yeah. That's right. He's got an MVP trophy and everything. Right.
So you got to go back to back this year. So
right.
They do a phenomenal job of helping us get back to the community. I know even during when COVID first hit, they helped us supply, some lunches and some waters to kids in Stark County, and also helped us feed some of the hospitals around here with some of our first responders. So they do a phenomenal job finding ways to give back, and our partnership has been great with them, for the last couple of years, and hopefully we'll continue to grow so we can kind of just impact people around us.
I love it. I love it. Again, shout out to Sam's Club. Wherever you're at, there's hundreds of Sam's Clubs around the world. Make sure you guys go check out your local Sam's Club, get a membership, especially now with you want to take less trips to the store. Get in there, get everything you need, and you won't have to go back as much. So shout out to them and the great pricing and the great customer service there. So let's get back into the book. All right, the 20. Now, right now, this is the manual. Is this what it's going to look like in its final form? What can they visualize when they see this? Is it a workbook? Is it bound? How will it look when people get the final version?
Yeah, so right now it's going to be altered a little bit, so it won't be exactly the way you see it right now. As you see it right now, it says 20.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say it for a day for like 100 times what it was worth. See, I need this signed and everything. All right, but go ahead.
Yeah. So what it's gonna look like? We're gonna take the 2021 off and just make it the mental manual. That way, people can purchase all year round. That way, it doesn't have to feel like you have to start, January 1 on 2021. Also, I think it's going to have a hard copy hard copy as far as what you see from right there. So hard
Okay.
covering. So at the end of the day, it's going to be a workbook, and can be used by anyone, individual, can be used by companies, sports teams, organizations. I know we've had some youth, church youth groups already purchase some for their group. So it's going to be something that can be used by anyone. I highly recommend it. Changed my life, helped me get through some tough moments. It still does right now. I still currently use it. So that's what it'll kind of be and look like.
I love it. So let's talk about it a little bit more. Let's get into it. Now, you have a scoring system is one of the things that coaches and athletes can use together. Tell us a little bit about the scoring system, and then kind of tell us what the idea is for how people will go through this book. Is this a sit down one time and read it? Is it once a week, once a day? How do you recommend people go through your book?
Yeah, absolutely. The scoring system is something that's similar to, I'm sure, a lot of programs, whether it be sports programs or college programs, use throughout the country. And as the winter workouts, is trying to find ways to do some team bonding, team building, holding people accountable. So what there is a point system for teams to use to, kind of keep their kids on track as far as academically, attendance wise, would be classroom, weight room workouts, anything like that. So as this point system to kind of help guide teams that they can use in the off season. And right now it's not per se a, straight A to Z book, which is kind of good. It's more of a journal. So January 1, you'll go to the first page and it'll say, turn to attitude, read 10 quotes about attitude. What did you learn? How can you implement that today? And, there's certain assignments per se that'll kind of help you stay positive. How can I implement, positive attitude in my day to day? And so all the way through December 31st, you'll have a quick assignment. And like I said, you'd be surprised every if you take 5-10 minutes a day and positively shift your mindset to a certain direction, you can start looking at the situation you're in as a glass half full instead of a glass half empty. And I think that's a simple thing that I see in athletics or people in general, where, your mindset really shapes your situation.
Absolutely.
And I think, people talk about the physical aspects of athletics or just anything, if you can have a strong mindset, you can conquer more than you think you can. And I want to give people the tools that they can conquer anything that they can, especially our young people, because they need it right now. Things that they're dealing with, things that we didn't have to deal with back in our day,
Right.
cyberbullying, bullying. I mean, it's tough. So just trying to give them something to dive into, to help, cure some of those things they're dealing with.
I love it. I love it. Shout out to Adriana Downing here in the comments. She says Devin with a bunch of exclamation marks. I'm picturing her screaming. She's excited that you're here. Shout out to her. Shout out to my man, Hollis Alexander. Awesome way to give back. Hollis, thank you so much for joining. Thank you for always supporting the show. Glad to have you here again today. Let's talk a little bit about attitude. So here's a quote from Brian Tracy you have here in your book on attitude. It says, "It doesn't matter where you're coming from. All that matters is where you're going." Why include this quote? What does this quote say to the people out there who are going to read your book?
Yeah, absolutely. I think when you kind of dive into the manual, you go to the different sections, you'll see one specific quote. So I picked one quote that really stood out to me from that section. And I think that kind of tells a little bit about my story. And I think a lot of people's story in general. A lot of times people think that because they are in a certain situation, they're not going to get out. Or if they're in a certain situation, they're better off than most. And honestly, things can switch really quickly. Yeah. And I think sometimes we have to understand that our situation is not always our final destination. And even with 2020, people think that, it's the end. No, it's just the hard moment right now. In a sports, I guess, analogy, it's, when you're in a hard, tough workout, you're like, man, is this thing ever going to end? Is the coach, when's he going to tell us that we're done?
Right.
Get back on the line. Oh man, come on, coach, what are we doing?
Right.
Come on, when's it going to end? At some point it's going to end, and you push through to the end. But at the end of the day, if you can push through, you'll come off better on the other side. And so I'm just thinking of that quote, it doesn't matter where you're coming from. All that matters is where you're going, also having vision of where you want to go. And sometimes people, they have thoughts of who they want to be and become, which is great. But also talking about plan of attack of hey, how am I going to get from A to Z? First of all, you got to get A to B. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes you might get the G and you got to go backwards.
Right.
Pushing forward. And I think just having that situation and that mindset that hey, I know where I'm going, and I know whether it's myself or people coming with me, I'm going. And I think just having that mindset to push forward is something that we all need.
A tremendous point that we do have to continue to push through. I think one of the things is persistence, perseverance. I saw something in here in the book that people need. What are your thoughts on that? A little bit more. I mean, a lot of times people are stopping early, writing a book, like you said. A lot of people, everybody I know has a book in their head, but they don't have a book that they ever put on paper, right? Mm-hmm. A lot of athletes have goals to be successful, be it go to college, be it go to the pros, be it whatever it is, or even fitness goals that individuals may have. Talk to us a little bit more about persistence and how this book is going to help people create a plan to continue forward and have the right mindset to be successful.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, with everything else that's in the book, I think persistence is something that is very important. I've seen many of people, like you said, who've had great ideas but didn't follow through, or who were just almost so close to, their breakthrough and they gave up. And that's why people understand. That's why it's called a breakthrough, because you break through. You have to push through it. And like I said, just certain things that are in this book, a lot of quotes, a lot of different stories. Some passages that will, dive into how others push through, how you can push through, ways to push through. I've been there before. Let's be honest. Like I've been in a situation where, man, I'm never going to make it through this thing.
Right.
But at the end of the day, I look back and years later, it's like that happened for a reason. It wasn't happening. It wasn't happening to me. It was happening for me. And I think that's one thing that people don't really realize is things happen for us. You know what I'm saying? And that's your mindset. Is, and I used to, selfish as a human, always think, man, why is it happening, man? Why is it happening? Why did Malone University shut down? Like, why did that happen?
I mean, you were coaching at Malone when Malone ended their football team?
Yeah, like, why did this happen?
I mean, wait, hold on. Wait, listen. That's a big deal around here, right? I actually graduated from Malone. I didn't play football for Malone, but I went to Malone. So I have, love for Malone and what it's done, and being here in the Canton community for so many years, Malone and Walsh. And, we have some great colleges here. And Malone recruited a lot. I know there were a lot of Canton McKinley players that they had recruited, in that time, who were really, it was exciting to know they were going to be right here, still playing on their same home field and all these exciting things. And all of a sudden, what was it, 2018, 2019? They're like, no more football team. What was that like from a coach's perspective? And how did you pick yourself up and make your next move?
Well, it's interesting because you look at it from when you get the news, selfishly, you're like, man, like, I'm out of a job. Like, what's next? But then all of a sudden you got to pick your emotions up. And then now you gotta, look like you're okay, because now you gotta take care of all these 18, 19, 20-year-old men, to get them a new home. So really, it's kind of symbolic in a lot of different ways as far as the unselfishness of, as far as, coaches have to be, and the sacrifices and, we have to take. And there's a situation where, if you could write a book about it, and it'd be a heck of a book, because that whole process, the whole everything, thinking we had a bright future, and
it was right there.
It gets cut off real quickly. And that's kind of what I was telling you about. Even the whole attitude is like, you can feel like, you're headed somewhere, and all of a sudden something happened out of your control, and boom, you got to take another path. Right. And so how do you keep going? And that's just kind of that mental toughness and having that glass half full versus glass half empty mindset. You can push forward to anything.
I love that. And it is important. I mean, we all go through those moments in life. I think they're moments of testing. Can you talk to us a little bit about your faith? Somebody told me today that your father is Dr. Jordan. I said, Dr. Jordan is Devin's dad. That is a cool guy. He's a brilliant guy, a guy with a huge heart, and has been serving the community for many, many years, and obviously teaching people how to walk in faith. How does faith play a role in your life, and how do you use that to help other people?
Yeah, definitely. Faith is something that it's kind of hard to explain because
Sure.
it's something that you can't see. You know, you see it in your mind, but sometimes the way you see it isn't always how it is, or how are you going to get there. And just really believing in a higher power, believing in something that you can't physically be in the moment of. And that's just something that has to be something that's in you. And honestly, it's something that we were talking about, with our Akron University Zips this year, is just having that faith and belief of what's going to happen. Actually, it's a section in here, is faith and belief.
Yep.
So it's just talking about how do you believe in something that has not happened yet. You still have faith that it's going to happen, whether it be in a job, a relationship, a health. You just have to believe it. And if you can believe in something and still understand it can happen, sometimes it just shifts into that way.
Yep.
If you believe in a negative outcome, you know what, you probably already lost the battle.
Yeah.
I know sometimes I've been in the sports world where I'd be a player or a coach, and we might be facing an opponent that we have no business being in a game with, and I'm like, dude, like, if you don't go into this game believing we're going to win, we've already lost. So why are we even playing? Why are we going to practice?
Yep.
So really just having that mindset, hey, something's going to happen. They're going to fumble. They're going to turn the ball over 7 times. Something's going to happen, and we're going to come victorious. And I think you have to have that mindset in everything you do, and you'd be surprised that you come out on the winning side more times than not when you just believe that you're going to end up in a great situation.
I love that. I think faith is a huge part of my life. I think we all have faith in something. Even people who suggest they don't have a religious belief or a spiritual faith, we all do things religiously, right? Somebody religiously prepares to be a great football player, and somebody religiously prepares to be right with God, right? And somebody has faith that they're going to be a great football player, and somebody has faith that they're going to be right with God. So, and there's those that are doing both, which is awesome, right? So faith is such a foundational belief for you. How do you go about, and this is interesting to me because I am someone who's worked with young people for a long time in faith-based settings and non-faith-based settings. How do you go to somebody who has issues when it comes to religion and faith, and you don't want to overstep as a coach? You want to help them in the ways you can without breaching any rules or doing anything wrong. How do you incorporate what faith is to you and how you believe people should go about doing things without crossing any lines or crossing any boundaries? How do you blend those two things?
Yeah, I mean, it's a tough thing to do, but I think at the end of the day, I don't really push, I guess, my religion on too many people as far as pushing it on them. Now, obviously, if I can slowly, guide them in a certain direction, I'll do that. Obviously, that's why I feel like we're on this earth. But at the end of the day, I think, like you said, faith and belief comes from a foundational purpose or meaning of something, of just something's going to work out. And now I believe that there is a higher power who we talk to, who we believe in, and things of that nature. For me, being a spiritual, man, I want to guide, as many in that direction. But I think, I think a direction, when you're talking about vision, sometimes you're not going to get someone to go from, A, to Z in one step.
Right.
Sometimes, like anything, it's sometimes just A to B, getting them to say, do you believe in something? What do you believe in? That's step B. Okay. Now C is, okay, have you written that down? It's just, there's a process. Does that make sense? And I think people, a lot of times, man, people skip the process.
That's so true.
And they wonder why I'm in a situation, because you're skipping the steps. To be honest with you, people always ask me all the time, Devin, why are you not at a bigger school? Why are you not somewhere? I'm like, you know what? That's not God's plan for me. Maybe God's plan for me to be here right now in this moment to help kids that, need to be helped.
I love that.
And at the end of the day, I'm learning in every situation that I'm in. I don't care where I'm at. I'm learning. I'm going through a process. So when I get to my destination, I'm going to be able to sustain where I'm at a high level because I went through the process. A lot of times people, they get that quick fame, they get that quick success, and they drop really quickly. You know why? They skip the process.
Yep.
I don't believe in skipping the process. So hey, if you get a hit a lick and you're a millionaire, hey, I'm happy
for you. But
hey, bro. Hey, I hope you went through the steps because I hope you're staying that success for a long time. And I think that's just one thing I try to preach to people. Hey, like, go through the process. You know what I mean? Hey, and if it ain't your turn yet, you know why? Because it ain't your turn yet. Go through the steps. When it's your time, you'll be ready for it if you prepare for it. And I could talk for hours about that.
I love that. I mean, so often people aren't willing to go through the process. We live in I always tell people we live in a J.G. Wentworth society, which is it's my money and I want it now. It's my blessing and I want it now. It's my season for football and I want it now and I want to start now and I want to be the star now and we don't know how to go through the process, even so much so until sometimes we're not even willing to submit to coaching, to the classroom, to the classroom of life. We don't want to go through the process. We just want our stuff now. My high school coach said I was a star, and I was a star in high school, and I committed to this college because you came and sat in my living room and told my mom that you believe that I'm a star, and now you got me over here on the bench, coach. You lied to me and my mom, and I don't like. What is that? How do you help young people realize the process it takes to go from a high school athlete to a college athlete? I was never a college athlete. I played in high school. But as I peeked out at colleges, I thought that's going to be a little different. That's going to take a whole other level of commitment. Is that something that I want to subject myself to? How do you help young people make that transition from high school to college and then incorporate the process that you were just sharing into their success?
Yeah, I think like you kind of mentioned, you have to submit yourself to something that you don't have knowledge of. And one thing I'm blessed to have in my life is to be successful at a high level at a, predominantly powerful high school football program, like the Massillon Tigers, and to go to the Ohio State University, which is same thing, a high level of college athletics. And so even going from that powerhouse in high school to another powerhouse at Ohio State is a whole nother level. And just really giving my experience of that, transition. When you talk about Massillon or McKinley, you talk about Ohio State, like people are going to listen to you. Like you just have people are going to, what do you got to tell me? So, for me personally, it's been, I guess, easier than most because I do have that pedigree to teach people. I do believe I can find ways to get through to kids in a certain aspect that most can't. I do try my best to relate to them that you're not always going to be at Ohio State University. You're not going to always be at a big time college. There's nothing wrong with going down to a Division III school, Division III school. There's nothing wrong with going, to Akron University in the Mid-American Conference. Nothing wrong with that. You got to find what's right for you. And I think one thing I see so much, and really one of the big reasons why I started Beyond the Game, is I see so many kids are getting misinformed by people who have no idea what they're talking about. And they get lost in their own world because people are giving them advice because they think they know what's best for the kid, and they don't. And I think, I'm going with a couple kids right now, and I'm trying to help. And it's unfortunate because at the end of the day, all that person that might lead that kid astray is going to say that kid say, I'm sorry, and they're going to move on. And that kid is lost. And I just think, whether it be myself or other people just have to find it in themselves and to help these kids really get guided in the right direction as much as they can, because I hate seeing kids lost. I hate seeing it. It's just something that bothers me as a human, as a person, as a football coach, whatever you want to call it. I hate seeing kids lost when they didn't have to be lost. And I think leaders in the community have to do a better job of finding ways and just putting their own selfish opinions and thoughts aside for the greater good of the kids. And honestly, it's not happening that often. I'll just keep it real. I see all the time people just have their own agendas, and at the end of the day, these kids are getting lost, and it's sad. And I just want to do my part as much as I can to guide as many kids in the right direction as I can. If I got to ship them over to you, Lucas, because you know about something that's more powerful than I do, I'm going to ship them to you. And
I
I
love
think
that.
people don't have that mindset that they can't reach out to someone who might be, I guess, more adapt to help a kid in a situation.
Yeah.
You know, they want to just be like, oh, I can do it myself. But maybe you're not an expertise. You know, I can't build a car. You know what I'm saying? So if I can't
Right.
I'm gonna act like I know how to build a car. No, I'm gonna send it to the mechanic who knows how to build the car. And I think that's just one thing that just happens all the time. And you know, I see it from back when I was in high school. You know, guys that went to college aren't going to college because they just I don't know. I don't want to get started on a lot of
They
stuff.
didn't have the support. Yeah, I mean, I think that's a great call out, and what we need to do as a community. It's not to make people feel accused, but it is to make people feel the need to wake up, because it is easy to report the news on what's going on in our communities, and everybody has an opinion. And this is what's wrong with kids today, and this is what's wrong with them, and this is what's wrong. And if we don't come together and start creating solutions, it's only going to get worse. And while we sit around and talk about it, we're missing the opportunity to do something about it. What you've done with your foundation Beyond the Game, what you've done with your book, The Mental Manual, what you're doing with other components that you're adding is actually getting involved. Now, you did a shirt and tie event that you and I talked a little bit about. I know Sam's Club was involved with that as well. Tell us a little bit about what that event was and what that's all about.
You talking about the Guys with Ties program?
Guys with Ties, that's what it is. Yeah.
So Guys with Ties is a program that Beyond the Game adopted. My good friend Kent Hamilton, who's a phenomenal teacher over in Plain Township, started the Guys with Ties program about 4 years ago. And you know, when he started, I kind of came and talked to the boys, and you know, we kind of kept growing this thing, and you know, said, hey, let's just merge and let's try to grow this thing. And so it's actually become a very powerful program, not only in Stark County. We've kind of branched off to Columbus and some other states here soon. Now COVID stopped some things, but I mean, we got an email from the United Kingdom, from a school in the United Kingdom, wanting to start the Guys with Ties program. So we've had tremendous growth with it. We've had tremendous, I guess, impact with the boys, the third grade boys. We dress them up in a shirt, you know, sponsored by Sam's Club, and a tie by Altman Hospital. Thank you to them for helping us with the program, and you know, really just teaching values that sometimes are lost in the school. So in the homes, they give up their luncheons once a month for 8 months, and first lesson is first impressions, and how to stand up when someone approaches you, how to look someone in the eye, shake their hand firmly, introduce yourself, do something nice to them, and leave that good first impression. And surprisingly, what people don't really understand is your first impression might not be face to face. It might be on the internet. It might be, you know, something you did, you know, somewhere in a store and someone's watching you. It might be something like that. So just being mindful of, you know, your first impression, that, you know, someone's always potentially watching you, and leaving that impression for them. We talk about dining etiquette, talk about gratitude, giving back to your community. So just teaching these young boys how to be leaders in the community. And sometimes these values are lost, you know, whether it be in the school district or at home. And we're trying to fill the gaps to kind of, you know, help these young men push forward into their lives.
I love it. Those are things. There's so many things that I think, why don't they teach that in school, right? Like first impressions, etiquette, how to tie a tie. There's so many young men growing up in single parent homes. And the mother's like, I never had to tie a tie, you know, and I don't know how to help you. And then a guy has a job interview or an interview with the coach, or the football or basketball team at his high school says, wear a tie. And he's thinking, I don't even know where to begin with that, you know, and I've been there. I was that kid who didn't know how to tie a tie. You know, I had to learn from a friend, and it matters that you're doing things like this. I love that you're so active. I love that you care so much beyond the city of Massillon, beyond the city of Columbus. Your goal is to stretch this thing across the country and across the world. Help us understand, as we wind this thing down, your further vision for Beyond the Game, the Mental Manual. Where do you see this thing going? Who do you want to help? What's the future of all of this?
Yeah, absolutely. Obviously, I think the Mental Manual, first and foremost, I want to just get it out to as many kids, whether it be in Northeast Ohio, locally as possible, and hopefully it catches on, and we can sell as many copies as we can and impact people. We've got some talks with some bigger groups that are trying to reach purchase these to kids, in different states. And really just want to do our part, with Beyond the Game. I've never gone in, like we talked about, going into a game where I feel like I'm going to lose. I don't want to go into a situation where I want to limit myself. Obviously having a great team with me who does a great job, filling in gaps that I can't fill, and hopefully growing our team and people getting involved. Just trying to impact, as many kids as we can. Guys with Ties is, like I said, I think it's a program that's, already shown, tremendous, interest from other states, other countries.
Right.
I think that's something that I can see going really far, really quickly, getting some professional athletes involved, some college athletes involved throughout the country. Even talking to, Arizona State, we are starting Guys with Ties in Phoenix, Arizona here in January. And reaching out to that school and just say, hey, we want to get involved. So just really I can see it doing, great, but that's where the faith comes in. That's where, that comes in, and just knowing that there's a higher power, and power is going to happen. You're going to be supplied with the tools and the knowledge to push forward and continue to go with the process. And then we're not trying to skip from, step C to step X. We're going to try to go from some C to D.
I love it.
Eat it up, and just trying to learn the process and just do everything we can, and while we can, and hopefully people can get involved and help out as they can.
I love it. Devin, again, I want to thank you so much for coming on the show, for sharing your story, your book, your mission, your organization. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're out there, I've thrown the Cash App up a couple times. If you want to make a donation of any amount, I mean, maybe you say, I want to give $5. I want to give $500. Please, right here, Cash App Beyond the Game is an opportunity for you to give back and make a difference. I know we've had several guests on, and we've talked to you guys about donating. To me, it's important, and I want to continue to share these things. We all throw our money at so many things, and a lot of times it's wasted. So to do something that's going to change somebody's life is what it's all about. When our young people are out here fighting in the streets and sadly going to prison or murdering each other, we always wonder, what could I do? What else could I do? This is such a sad situation. And we do things. We can vote. We can talk about reforming systems. But it starts with things like the mental manual. It starts with things like supporting a guy like Devin Jordan and his organization Beyond the Game. These are your opportunities to really make a difference in this community, in your community, and communities around the world. So please, please, please consider purchasing the book at gobeyondthegame.org and make a donation at Cash App Beyond the Game so that somebody else can have this great book. Devin, my man, I appreciate it. We will have to do this again. I want to bring on a group of coaches. Shout out to my guy, Ryan Montgomery, Coach Boo, yourself. I want us to come on one day and talk about recruiting. You told me you can help young men, young women know the secrets to how to get into college. And there are truly some secrets. You broke some stuff down to me today. I was like, I don't think we do that.
Yeah, a lot of things people don't know. I mean, that's just the world we live in. If you know your rights, you could know where you're headed. If you don't know what you're doing, you're gonna be lost. So I think it's one of the things with recruiting and college. You got to know what you're headed into, and you got to know early, because if you have a late start, man, you're behind the chain. So you gotta know the information. You gotta know the circles to be in, and then you gotta know how to get to where you want to go. So that's the information that you need to know. Just like the mental man, you got to know. You got to have the information. You know what I'm saying? You have the information, you're good to go.
I love it. All right. Well, I'm going to hold you to it that you will be back. We will do a panel on the recruiting. We'll continue to support the book and the work that you're doing. Thank you so much for being our guest today. I really, really appreciate it. Don't go too far. Stay right there. I'm going to come back to you in just a second. Let me get this crowd out of here. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you guys for being here today. I'm over here switching stuff around, trying to make things move. Thank you guys for being here again today on another episode of Lucas Live. You see right here. Glad to have you guys. We're going to have so much coming up. We have a great new year that is already in the works. Actually, at least one new show, new podcast coming to Lucas Live Media in 2021. I will be involved. You'll see me there too, along with Lucas Live as this show. I'm going to be involved producing and co-hosting another show. And I'm just excited about everything that's coming up and everything that's going on. You guys have been a great audience as always. If you missed the beginning Go back and watch the beginning if you just tuned in, and make sure you subscribe to Lucas Live Media on Facebook and YouTube, and follow me at Lucas Tyndale on Instagram and LinkedIn and everywhere that you are. I'm sure I'm there too. You guys, thank you guys so much.